Hey guys, welcome to Johnny Ray's Backwoods Guns. Back tonight for another exciting, heart-pounding video on reloading. Alright, stick with me here guys. I'm going to load these 450 Marlins with these FTX Hornady bullets. People love hunting with them. They just have troubles loading them because they mash the tips. I'm going to show you how to fix all that. Stick around, it should be good. Alright guys, let's start with my components. We're loading with Hornady brass. Hornady brass. Can you read that? Hornady brass. Take my word for it. Hornady bullets. It's these damn FTX bullets. So I'm going to use my Hornady load data book. Okay. I'm going to use CCI primers, 250, number 250 large rifle magnum primers, and I'm going to use IMR 4198 powder. I was wanting to use Vita Vore 120, but I didn't have any of the damn shit, so I settled on 4198 because that's what I got. All right, guys, these 450 Marlins have this plastic tip. And the Hornady book says to trim your brass an extra 5/100ths of an inch. For some reason, you see how I got that set on the cantilever line. The problem with this is, with a set of RCBS dies, and that's all I've got, is the seating plunger is shallow. And what it does, it smashes those bullets. So if you go with my load data, 450 Marlin, it says case trim length 2.090. Remember that number. If you look right here, it says for the 325 grain FTX bullets, 325, case trim length 2.040. That's 5/100ths shorter. And it says right there, the data below was developed with FTX bullets. Due to the longer ogive, it is critical that the cartridge cases be trimmed to the length specified. So, 2.040, we got to trim them extra. I'm going to slide down here to 4198, go over to the load data, 44 is your max charge. I'm going to drop back to 43. Okay, when you trim your brass a little shorter and you're messing with a funny ogive on this bullet, I think it's best to be safe, so I'm going to load at 43 grain. That'll leave me a little safety net. All right, guys, that's the basis of my components and what I'm going to load with. But we are going to fix this first. Stick with me, guys. Okay, what we're going to do, I checked up my seating stem in my drill press. Okay, guys, all I'm going to do, it's pretty customary in the competition shooting world, F-class world. It's pretty old hat for these guys to drill out their seating plugs. So that's all we're going to do. We're going to start out and drill a pilot hole, and then we're going to go to a bigger drill bit. I'm going to just throw a little bit of oil on there. Get my pilot hole started. Okay, now I'm going to change the drill bits, and I'm going to drill that out. Put a bigger drill bit in this, and I put a little oil on there. We're going to drill this out. Try to get it as centered as possible. All right, I'm going to have to go to a bigger drill bit. It usually takes me about 3 or 4 drill bits, but I think you guys get the point. Up, all except for polishing it. If you notice, you see how that's dropping all the way down now, and it's going to push on the ogive. I went ahead and checked the normal bullets, and they're going to work too. Okay, these are the XTPs, but to get these, if you don't polish this, you're going to leave a ring around the top of your bullet. You don't want that. So here's the fix to it. Just take one of your bullets, chuck it up in your drill. All right, take a little bit of polishing compound. Now you're not wasting this bullet. What you want to do with this bullet is load it in one of your ciders, okay? Something you're going to use for a cold bore shot to warm up your barrel, or something you're just wanting to use to make sure you get on paper. But put you some polishing compound on that. Use that West Virginia napkin there to wipe it off. And just run your drill. I like to run it on low torque speed. You can run it about 60 seconds one way, 60 seconds the other way. And then I like to rock my seating stem around that bullet so it gets all the different angles while you're doing this. I don't know if it helps or not, but in my mind I think it helps. So hell, that's half the battle, what I think. All right, now my seating stem's done. Now all you want to do is unchuck that bullet, set that drill down, and we'll load that as a cider. So you really haven't wasted the bullet. It's not a sacrificial lamb. It did its purpose. Now let's move on to, I'll set this up in the die. We'll move on to trimming my brass. Okay guys, look at that number, 2.085. All right, that's before I size. This is a lot of brass, okay? I'm gonna lube my brass. I'm going to size it up real good. All right, I'm going to pull it down. Let's check the size on this. .2.10. Okay guys, like I was saying, 2.10. If you move it around a little bit, it's still a little bit more than 2.10. That's why I keep telling people, you got to size your brass first, then trim it, okay? Size it first, then trim it, even on straight wall cases, all right? And we've got this crazy 2.04 trim length we got to get on this. So let's get to trimming, but I just wanted to show you me knocking the primers out and showing you how much this big brass stretches. Of course, small brass doesn't stretch as far, but big brass, it stretches. So let's get to trimming. My depth set on this and this. Save us a little bit of time. I didn't figure y'all need to see me unlock that washer, move it up and down. What you want to do, you want to lock your head in first, your cutting head in first, and then lock the rest of your brass, okay? And then you just work it. Of course, put your drop of oil and just drop a little tiny bit right there, since we're going to be cutting 500 thousandths or 500ths. And you just want to spin that till you feel it release. There it goes, it quits cutting. Well, there we go, it just spun free. So let's get our mic out. We're supposed to be at these RCBS calipers. I like them a lot, but they tend to need zeroed a lot. We're shooting for 2.040. Okay, I think that time we chafe and deburr, we'll get that extra. Well, it's popping. We're under 2.04. Just got to spin it. It'll smooth it off. As long as you're under 2.04, you're good. So let's get these other two. You can hook a drill on the end of this, but I don't use it much. But I didn't have a Hornady 450 Marlin or a Marlin 450 cutting lead cutter with the pilot for my lineman press. So I just hooked my 45 pilot in this and went to cutting. There it got free. There we go. It's done cutting. .040. You can move this around a little bit and you're going to get, what it is this isn't a dead level cut yet, okay? When we chafe and deburr, it'll smooth it off and you'll get a more accurate trim length. As long as it's real close, you're good. Lock that in first. Tighten up your arbor and go to trimming. Yeah, if I use this a lot, I would put this on a drill head, but I don't use it very much. Just when I'm performance for competition and shooting, I'll trim and I'll use this. But usually I use my case prep center, and I just use a there you go, 23395. It's going to bounce around. Once we chafe and deburr, let's move to my case prep center and we'll finish it off. My case prep center, I'm sure if you watch my videos you notice this hole was dead. I had a flash hole deburr in there once, and I smacked it with my hand and snapped it off. So I had to pull that utility hole out. Lyman sending me a new one. Thank God for Lyman fixing me up. But I didn't want any brass shavings to get down in there, so I covered it up with a little piece of duct tape. But back to loading. I got my rubber coated pliers here, so I can hold on to my brass real good. I'm going to uniform my flash hole, or my primer hole. Then I'm going to clean my primer hole. And I'm going to chafe and deburr. Just put a little pressure on. Hold it with these rubber grip pliers. If you don't have rubber grip, you can wrap them in tape. You can dip them in plastic dip. You can get rubber gripped pliers. Either way, it keeps your brass. It holds it good. It's easy on your hand. And look at that primer pocket. It's just damn perfect. Now we're going to chafe the inside and deburr. And since I had to cut that extra, I'm going to chafe and deburr a little bit extra long just to smooth up that end. Make sure it's all nice and smooth. Of course, there's my reading, 2.0375. I'm supposed to be 2.040, so that's good enough for me. That's slightly under. Remember, guys, I reduced my load from 44 to 43. That way, if I run into stuff like this where I trim too far, I chafe, I deburr, take too many thousandths off, then I'm not going to run myself into high pressure problems. This is pretty standard. It's how I do it every video. If you've got any more questions about this, just drop them in the comments or go to back a couple of my videos, and you'll see I pretty much use this Lyman case center on every video I've got. It speeds up my brass prep immensely. Primer pocket looks good, clean. That looks nice and smooth and even now. 2.039. Guys, it's hard to get a thousandth of an inch dead on every time. Last one, and we'll move on to priming and powder. Guys, I like this Lyman Case Prep Center because I'm pushing straight down on a tabletop. A lot of these prep centers, you're pushing in, and you'll push the prep center away from you. That's why I like this one better than Frankfurt Arsenal. And I like this one better than the Hornady, the little 3-headed Hornady. Now the 6 or 7-headed Hornady that's got the brass trim length on it, cutter on it, I like that, but the damn thing's $500, something like that. Now, when I get done, I just make sure there's nothing in there, and hang on. I just uniform my flash holes just slightly, and my brass is ready. This is good. All right, guys, let's get to primer. Brass, I'm getting ready to prime. First thing I'm going to do before I prime is I just came off the brass prepping station, so I'm going to blow up my primer holes, make sure there's no little brass, and then I'm going to blow up my brass. Now I'm ready to prime. We'll drop a primer in there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime this on the downstroke. And then on the upstroke, I'm going to flare my brass. I just put a slight flare on there, okay, guys? I want those bullets to seat down nice and easy and concentrically. So you got to put a flare on. Drop another primer in. On the upstroke, there you go. Run it up. Flare it. Last one, guys. I'll just do 3. I'll do everything off camera. Okay, so that's got nice primer pocket, nice even cut, nice trim, nice flare. Just it's a slight flare, guys. I don't want to open it up too much. But that's the way I like it right there. All right, let's go to powder. All right, guys, setting up these scales. I've been fighting with these Hornady scales for months now. I got it to throw pretty consistent. And the key is get you a set of a level like this. Make sure it's left, right, up, and forward and back level, okay? That's set. Cut your straw and stick it in the end of your tube. All right? And then I took a piece of brass and I cut the end of it off, and then I notched just little tiny notches out of the edge of this with my Dremel so that maybe one piece of powder would drop instead of a whole bunch balling up and then dropping. And so you just got to play with it. I know everybody complains about these scales, but the powder pour, it's very consistent. I've got a little timer here, and I'm going to show you guys how long it takes to throw a green light. I've got my scale set on fast. I've thrown 40, 50, 60 green lights in a row with this. Now, of course, first time here, I'm probably going to throw a red light, but, you know, try to film something. While you're, when you move around a lot of times it's good to like notch your, write down how much powder you're supposed to have. There you go, green light. And what your zero is without your scale. See how I'll take this off? As long as it's within a tenth of this minus 2187, see, 2187, when I take my funnel off. Now I just stick it over here on these RCBS, and I see I'm a tenth off. So I'm going to just trickle up and get a good 43. Come on. I like these RCBS scales better than the Hornady scales But I really like this powder thrower. It throws real close to accurate every time. I forgot about the timer. We'll time the next correct charge. All right, I'm just going to fill my case. And I just pound it down a little bit. I know that looks like it's not a very full case fill, but those FTX bullets really go down in there deep. Let's throw another charge. Start my timer. I kind of like using a piece of brass. It covers up that red straw. It kind of makes it look more like a gun store than just a damn McDonald's with a straw sticking out the front of it. Now remember, guys, I got my scale. If you notice, I've got it set on fast. And you look at my timer, 33, 32, 33, 34 seconds. Stop that, clear that. Double check. 43 dead on. I'll pick it up. Let's just make sure they didn't get lucky. Set it back down. 43 dead on. Powder's in there. Now if you look down in there, you can see the powder. But if you look this cantilever line, you see how far that bullet's going to seat. It's going to seat down to there. That's probably about a 85 to 90% case fill, which I like that. I like 85, 90, 95%. That way when you get up in the tree and you're holding your rifle down and you're pointing, when all the powder runs to the front, you got this voided area here. Well, that's why a lot of people use case fill. But when you deal with an 85, 90% case capacity of powder, you don't have to worry about that. So let's run one more of these and let's see how long it takes. If I can throw a correct powder charge and get it in the brass in less than a minute, I think I'm doing good, guys. Here we go. Come on, 43. Oh, it threw over. Holy hell. If you hit enter, it'll tell you what it's thinking. It's saying 43.1. But let's check it on an RCBS scale. See what it reads. It's reading 43 dead on. That's why I tell you, this powder charge thrower, it throws a consistent charge, but the scales, they just bounce around. I hate Hornady scales. Let's try to trickle up to 43. That's why I always use a second set of scales to confirm. Now we're at 43. Let's lift up, let it stabilize. Set it down, let it stabilize. I threw one kernel fell out. Let it stabilize. Set down, let it stabilize. Sounds good to me. I forgot to check that timer. We'll throw one more. Re-zero my scale. It's 0. See if it throws it under 30 seconds. You know, whenever you get on camera, you always tend to forget something. You screw something up every time, guys. Every single time. It's crazy. I didn't level off my RCBS scales, but I'm pretty sure they're level. That threw a green light. That threw it in 35 seconds. And just for the shits and giggles, let's see if that scale, it's level. Can you see the double bubbles? She's level. These things won't give you a correct charge, guys, if your air conditioner's blowing on it, and if the if it's unlevel. See, for some reason that's throwing 43.2. There we go. That's why I pick it up and stabilize it. I believe it's a little over. Can't believe I got it that perfect, but guys, to throw consistent groups and for your point of impact to be the same, it's crucial that you have the same amount of powder in each charge. Okay, that's enough of powdering. Let's go to seating these bullets. All right, guys, a good loading habit is to always look down your breath, make sure there's powder. You don't want to squib load. Remember, we flared these, and I just put a small flare on it. Run it up a nice even seat. Hey, it's right on the cantilever line. This is a seating die and a crimping die, so I set it to crimp. It didn't match the red tip at all. We're shooting for 2590. Let's see if we got it. 2590. Holy hell, I don't know how I got that on the first try, but we're good there. 2590. It's right on the cantilever line. You got a nice crimp. Check, make sure there's powder. Got your bullet. That seating stem worked perfect. The crimp's good. The seat is right on the cantilever line. This one's 2589. Now, you know, guys, you can slam these calipers as hard as you want, and you'll get, see how I got a -5 there? That's a tenth, 100,000. That's 100,000. That's a half a 100,000 under, a half of 100,000 under. A lot of times these calipers will get sprung. Just get your set of feeler gauges from a auto parts store. You can check them. I try to stay within my lines when I'm measuring. Sometimes when you get way out here on the edge, of course, you know, when you're checking thickness of case walls in the neck, you can't do that. You gotta use these ends. But anyway, that's close enough. Let's do another one. Check for powder. Powder's in there. Got your bullet. Run it up. $2590. Okay, guys, I'll finish these off camera and check for powder. I'll finish these off camera and we'll get this video concluded. I try not to make my videos last too long. 2589, I'll take that. As long as you're within 100 thousandths, I think you're good, or thousandths. A thousandths is fine, 100 thousandths is phenomenal. All right, guys, we'll conclude this video in just a second. Stick around. All right, guys, that's the video today. I showed you how to trim this brass on the Hornady brass Soleil case trimmer. I showed you how to load these FTX bullets without crushing the tip. We had to drill out our seating stem, and then we had to polish it up. I went over how I set my scales up, how I put my little reminder tag here. So as I'm briefly going from powdering to, I hardly ever tray up a whole tray, guys. I'll powder one, set the funnel back, and I'll move here, and I'll seat, crimp, do whatnot, rack my bullet, and do another one. The reason I hate traying up a whole tray is there's many times where I've smacked this and dumped a whole tray of powder. Plus, I like to, when I pour, take the funnel, pour in, and start again, I know I'm not going to get a squib. I know that's got powder in it. Reloading It's just about building good basic reloading techniques and habits. Once you get in a flow, it's surprising how fast you can pump out ammo. And I know I've got 3 presses set up here. Most of you guys got 1 press. The reason I've got that, you know, I've got a hunting shop, gun shop, taxidermy shop. It's a small shop, but I get a lot of guys that come in here and trade me old presses, sell me old presses. If you look up there on the wall, I've got over 100 set of dies up there, okay? I've got them set up in turret presses. I've got just a mix, okay? All this stuff on the back wall is stuff I use every day. I've got bullets, I've got primers, I've got powder, I've got brass, I've got so much brass, it's crazy. And of course, that's the perks of having a gun shop, okay? But I try to load like everybody that comes into my shop loads. And I try to figure out problems that everybody in my shop has, okay? You know, it's easy to go to Cabela's or order from Midway and order 1,000 pieces of brass, 1,000 primers, 1,000 bullets, 10 pound of powder, and a Dillon 650 and put it all together, hit a button, and walk away from it. But that's not how the people that I deal with load. You know, we're bargain hunters. We're trying to save $1 so we can shoot a few more rounds. And so I try to figure out what's going on. I get a lot of nice, neat equipment, but most of it is people buy it and can't use it anymore, don't know how to use it, decide not to load anymore, and I buy it from them. I got that powder dropper. If it was up to me, I would have got a RCBS, but the RCBS is about $100 more. The guy traded me this. I got a new set of RCBS scales because I wanted to be right. I've got some bulge busters. I got 2 bulge busters back there. I've got a Pro 1045 progressive press, the only progressive press I got in the shop, and I never use it. And I've got the turret press, the dies. I've got a shotgun press. I've got a case trimmer. My case prep center, I bought it used off a guy. So, you know, most of this is just used equipment, good equipment. Some of it's new, but it's what my customers use. But back to this, I try to figure out a problem, how you could get the brass the right length, get the bullets to seat without tearing up the tip. Now, of course, if you get you a set of Hornady 450 Marlin dies, you won't have to drill out your seating stem. All right, their seating stems come with that extra room. Of course, they designed this bullet. Hornady and Marlin designed this chamber. They designed their dies to load for it, and so it's just user friendly. But not everyone can just throw away a set of RCBS dies and go buy a set of Hornady dies. So I try to make it where people can use what they have. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking into my channel. Leave me a comment, leave me a like, leave me a share, or share my video, subscribe. Please subscribe. I need more subscribers. I'm going to get this ball rolling on this. I'm going to try to put out a couple of videos this week on 45 long Colt and 357 SIG. So guys, stay tuned. Thank you very much, and y'all have a great day.